Hi everybody, it's Heather. I wanted to kind of go through the process of how to make cold pressed coconut oil. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take a brown coconut. You can use a young, but the young ones, when they're transported into the States beforehand, they're sprayed with all kinds of stuff. I like to use these because they're cheaper. They're easier for me to get a hold of. These cost about $1.30 at my local grocery store. They're not organic either, so I'm not saying that it's organic, but if you want to make homemade coconut oil, anyway, what I do is I choose the big ones because I like coconut water. So I've already got two that I've opened, and this is the coconut water from both of those. I just take it. Everybody has a different way of opening them. See these three dots right here? What you'll do is I take a screwdriver and I make sure that you clean the tip pretty good. And then these are really, really soft. These are the softest place of the coconut. I take just on one of them, whichever one. This one looks like it's pretty soft. I'm not actually going to open this one, but what I do is I take it and I put the screwdriver in near the hole, and I basically take the hammer and I hammer it till I get a hole. You'll hear it go pfft, and it's releasing the pressure. What I also do is after I poke one, I actually do a second one. That way whenever you stick it on the glass, it has air to move through, so it drains better and faster. So then I drain the water out. Then I take I just take an old towel and I wrap, the water's drained out of the coconut, I wrap it up in a towel. Then I take the coconut out on the porch, or you can do it on your kitchen floor if you feel so inclined. I go outside to do it. And then you just hammer it. A lot of people try to save these so that they can do the cute little bowls and stuff with them. The only problem with trying to do that with these, you can if you have a nice mature one, then you're able to do that, but I rarely find one that's mature where the meat is easy enough to come right out. Some of them they do, and when I find one that does, I kind of test it before I tear it up and demolish it, but I do kind of pop it a couple of times. You're basically just going to hammer away. Most of them that I get are not really truly ripe, so it's kind of hard to get the meat out of them. If they're ripe, it's awesome and it's no problem. I'll show you real quick. This one is really, really ripe. The first one I did, you can actually just kind of cut right into the meat and there's no problem. And then the meat just pops right off. But what I try to do, because it's difficult, I score them like this. And then I just kind of shove the knife under and pop it up. When they're mature and it's ripe, it's awesome and it's no problem to get it out. The first coconut I did was great, gave me no problems. The second one was murder trying to get through it. So it's labor intensive to do this, most of the case. But anyway, so what I've got here is a bowl full of coconut meat. So now what I'm going to do is take the coconut meat and you're going to fill your pitcher, your blender pitcher with it. I'm just going to do a little at a time. So what I do is that you'll fill it up and then just put enough water to cover the meat. I use really cold water when I do it. And can't seem to find my lid. So what I do is pulse it a little bit just to kind of get it going. I'm gonna have to add more water. And it'll cut it all up and everything. Make sure it gets nice and well cut, where it's nice and shredded really well. I actually don't worry about cleaning the meat right away. I don't bother with that because I'm going to strain it later. So once you strain it through some cheesecloth, all that other gunk, I try to get all of the little, I trim all of the brown pieces off the meat. There's bark here. Not a lot of people explain this, to me at least, when I was trying to learn how. There's a layer of bark right here, this brown layer, the light brown, and that's usually pretty closely attached to the meat. And then this is what I call the bark. It just comes kind of right off. But anyway, I trim most of that off, so I don't leave all of the brown stuff on. Some people do. I don't, because I just find it to be too much work and too much pulp to deal with when I'm straining it. So I kind of do a lot more work by hand than maybe what's necessary. But anyhow, and then what you do is you take the contents of your pitcher. I do it 1 cup at a time. So just 1 cup I'll take and pour it through some cheesecloth. Hang on, let me get the cheesecloth. Guess I wasn't as well prepared as I thought. And then I kind of poke a little hole there. Take just 1 cup at a time because you're going to have to strain it. You do this just kind of like the almond milk that I did. The only problem with trying to do extra virgin coconut oil by yourself by hand without the use of a machine is you're not going to get as much oil out of the meat as you could. Now I've read where people have said use hot water on this. That never worked for me. That did not work. I actually, last night, I tried for the 30-something time. I really wasn't trying. I did it by accident. I just decided, forget it. I'm just going to use cold water, not hot, and do it that way. And just make coconut milk. That's all I'm going to do, is just coconut milk. And when I did it, when I got done, you'll do that with the whole contents, and this is what I'm getting to, is I did all of it, and then I put it in it. I poured it off in a mason jar and put the lid on it, and I stuck it in the fridge. And I don't know why I decided to go back and check on it, because normally I won't really check on coconut milk, till I'm going to use it, and I wasn't really planning on it. But anyway, for whatever reason, I opened up the lid, and when I did, I looked in, the lid was covered with coconut oil. And I realized, oh my God, you don't use hot water, you use cold water. So, but like I said, it's kind of labor intensive, and you don't get as much as if you use like an Omega, where you actually take the meat and you shove the meat down and jam it down into the machine, and the machine just squeezes like all of the oil out. That would be the best. But if you're going to do it by hand and you don't have one, like me right now, I don't have an Omega yet. So that's how I did it. And then what happens is once you stick it in the fridge, leave it in there for 30, 45 minutes, an hour, something like that. And what will happen is all of the oil will float to the top. Then you just skim the oil off, and you'll know the difference between the oil and it's basically everything that's on top. You skim it all off, put it in some more cheesecloth, drain the water out, and there you go. This is what I came up with last night. So it's not very much. It's just a little baby jar worth. But, that was, I really didn't try hard. I really didn't. You can actually run cold water through this again. After you do this, you can run more through the meat again. Stick the meat back in after you've drained it. Add more water and try to get more out. So anyway, that's what I did, and that's how I made extra virgin cold pressed coconut oil. Enjoy!